Good morning, Exiles, and welcome back for some more Path of Exile Racing. We have, for your viewing pleasure coming up, a 2-hour XP race featuring a whole cast of awesome races that we'll be swapping through. Hopefully, some spectacular racing action coming your way in just a moment. I am joined here once again by none other than co-caster Octavian. Good morning, Octavian. How's it going, buddy?
I'm doing pretty well. All the better after that race finish. Still coming down from that. That was one of the closer photo finishes we've had.
Yes, we not long finished a Dominus boss rush event with an exceedingly close photo finish. While we had some technical difficulties at the start of the race itself was fantastic, and the effort put in by the racers themselves was something to behold. And if that is just a taster of the quality of racing we'll see today, then you folks and we are in for an absolute treat. The 2-hour race is a little bit different. It's a little bit of a longer race. There's a little bit more time for some things to play out, some strategies to play out, for errors to be made, for good items to be found, and for good decisions to be made. We'll see how it changes up people's strategies, what they'll be doing, where they'll be farming. Do you have any thoughts about the upcoming race, Octavian?
We're going to see almost entirely witches. I think the only person not playing witch is going to be my boy Quantrick, who, if you pull his stream up at some point, you will see a banner of very finely behatted Templars. So he's well and truly in a particular camp as to which class he's going to play. But as far as the folks who don't have those sort of pre-existing loyalties, I think it's going to be witches across the board, which once again, please do remember, Scion is not a real class when it comes to PoE racing.
Wow.
Scion is merely the early evolutionary form of a witch. It's the primordial soup from which a witch with onslaught will spring.
Put beautifully.
It's like the caterpillar with onslaught that turns into a witch.
She enters the cocoon of the loading screen as you change over to another class. But yes, in the slightly longer races, we do see the muling action to try and take advantage of that onslaught. But also the Scion Hillock kills can be a little bit challenging at times. And we see the racers carefully positioning Hillock against the wall, all the better to Spectral Throw, because Spectral Throw turns out is one of the worst skills in the game to try and kill Hillock with. It's very easy to run out of mana, run out of potions, and actually die to Hillock. And indeed, I have done it practicing for Scion racing starts. And we've even seen professional racers doing it as well, dying to Hillock. But thankfully today, we don't see any Hillock reps at the beginning here. It is good to see. Players making it through, picking up a few things. Did I say some move speed boots? Possibly.
There were boots purchased, but I don't know whether they're move speed or not. It was hard to tell. Exile is real quick with that town management. I think that was movement speed for Dead and Doom, though, on those iron greaves that he had.
Hey.
And look, it's a beautiful thing. They're metamorphosizing right in front of us.
Look at him. Look at as the caterpillar Scion enters the cocoon and emerges the beautiful witch butterfly. We'll now see the witches run through the coast and go pick up the leavings of the Scion gameplay. That is it for the Scion race. Apologize for a little bit of lag and stutter. I do seem to be having some possible Twitch connectivity issues. Nothing on Twitch is loading for me right now. It is a miracle that the streams are still playing. It seems like Twitch is just dying this morning, but nonetheless, we can still spectate some racing action. I just hope we don't have to change some broadcast streams at any point.
All right, I'll keep an eye. I'll use my fancy observer tool and keep an eye on some of the other broadcasts in the background and let you know if something else crazy happened.
Nonetheless, though, we see first Hillock kill go down for MihaiRadu, the winner of the last race, with the photo finish Dominus boss rush kill. Super impressive work from MihaiRadu there. And we do see Twitch come to an almost complete standstill. I'll just do a quick refresh and we should be back. Dead and Doom moving through, sells the boots off of his feet Because I think, like you said, he might have picked up some move speed boots, which should be sitting in his stash here. Let's just see. Yes, I did see runners there. So Dead and Doom with nothing equipped but a pair of move speed boots. Thankfully, does have a couple ones, otherwise you'd have a hard time equipping any spells to speak of.
One of the nice benefits of the muling strategy is that you are very consistently able to get at least one of your 3-link 1 setups in pretty much every run. You have to get quite unlucky not to see, something with usable colors.
Yeah, and we do a little bit more often see some move speed action as well, like we did from Dead and Doom. But that said, I don't know if we saw much else. I know we have a pair of boots equipped on Imozar. I was not able to see if they were runners or not. We'll try and... It's a bit hard to judge just off the move speed alone, but it kind of looks like it. It looks to be running around the same pace as Dead and Doom right now, and is the first into Mud Flats and picks up that first egg, so a slight lead on Dead and Doom at the moment.
Far as the bot is concerned, so I'm going off of the last update from our item alert bot, which is another one of the tools that our backend people have designed. They do fantastic work. We have Move Speed Boots on Dead and Doom, absolutely, but also Celastrophus, who is Quantric.
Very nice.
And is going Templar, so didn't need to mule, and is already a zone or two ahead.
I'm actually going to, now that Twitch seems to be working a little better, hopefully, fingers crossed, trying to load up Quantric here so we can spectate in on our possibly one and only Templar, who did, like you said, get some move speed boots. And look at that glorious Templar overlay there.
It's great. I love it. You can see, like, the stars and the moon and stuff in the hats of the Templar.
I love it. I love it.
Their
it's
long
so
necks
majestic.
stretch up into space itself.
Absolutely majestic. Very nice. So pretty nice start from Quantric here on the Templar action. I do hope to see him do well. He's got that War Banner action, which I haven't seen in a while, and I do like that War Banner. Slamming down for the big burst damage. A lot of burst damage to be had from a lot of these racing skills, Stormburst Mine and such. So well-timed War Banner can make a difference as well for that adrenaline boost. But we see a pretty smooth Hail Rake kill for Imexile just a moment before Dead and Doom here. Who's also making his way over to Hail Rake now. Cleans up the pack a little bit. I liked some of the nuance I saw to Dead and Doom's gameplay a little bit earlier. He saw the exclamation mark for the eggs and skipped the one that was closer and went to the further away one so that he could path back across it. And just those little things like efficient zone pathing, efficient picking up of the quest icons and stuff that might feel a little bit like you wouldn't, the sort of thing you wouldn't do naturally. The sort of thing you have to consider and practice in racing strategy. And I like to see it constantly. Dead and Doom, always impressing. That said, Imexile with a little bit of a lead here in the Submerged Passage. Only just, though. Quantric, though.
Pulling ahead of everybody. I mean, doesn't have the Scion weighing him down. There's no albatross around his neck.
Yeah, that's it. No Scion Mule for the Templar. So a little bit of a leg up, effectively, at the moment. But, we'll see if that advantage carries forward or not.
It's very hard to be neck and neck with a Templar.
Oh my god. Indeed. Well put, Caster. Well put. We see some exceedingly unfortunate dead end Doom for Dead and Doom. Living up to his name there with the massive dead end in Submerged Passage. That's some classic dead end action.
He's just doing some layout research. He was trying to get the full thing uncovered so that we can see the whole layout.
Yes, indeed. Garatha, hopefully not having a similar issue here, but this looks like it would be the right path for him. Yes, we do see the exit for Garatha. His zone read working out a little bit better that time around. Imexile going hard on the Delirium encounters with 2 stacks and still choosing to not end it, opting for the extra experience of the mob spawns, and it seems to be taking care of it okay. I don't know if he's going for a third reward or not, or maybe just going for the extra mob kills. And we do see Dead and Doom also picking up the action there. Ooh, uniques for Garatha.
Miscellaneous item reward isn't that bad.
How about
unique one is
uniques?
really high rolly. The unique one is so high rolly.
Hey man, if you get the high
let's hope for
rolls.
Garatha's sake for the high rolls.
Yeah, I mean, 2 uniques. There's a few things that could be very helpful. The pool of uniques at this level is not, as wide as it is later on. And some Wonderlusts could certainly fit the bill for Garatha.
He's got a big old pack of mobs. I hope he doesn't
That
get
is a
baited
lot.
into trying to push further than he can handle
Oh
because he
god.
wants,
Oh
the
god.
extra unique
Oh no,
reward.
he's
This is
backtracking.
scary.
He went back for the transmute. It was calculated. It was intentional. He meant to do that. It's fine. He'll be hitting that third reward quite easily here in the ledge.
Yeah.
And picks up currency as the extra reward tier. Ends it right then and there. We see an Abereth's and... Was it 2 Abereth's? 2 Abereth's horns. There's added fire damage to spells, if I recall correctly, right?
Yeah, I don't think it's as much as even, like, the blue wand recipe, though.
It possibly saves on the vendor craft, but we'll see if he even deigns to throw them on. The sockets could be a little bit of an issue as well. So Abereth's not the easiest to use. I also see Abereth for Quantric too, who also has an Abereth equipped. But no second wand. He needs to equip a second wand.
Like, honestly, more often than not, I think I'd prefer to see the essence reward. Because then you're going to be able to make your rare ones. Like, Dedendum just got the essence reward. He has 2 essences. Now he can make his ones when he gets to level 20.
Yeah,
like,
getting
guaranteed
some
he can make them.
Huge, fantastic, just really good to be able to get that craft happening straight away. The rarity of the ring determines the tier of the vendor craft for the added spell damage on the wand, so getting the rare craft later on and having a couple essences banked in your inventory is super helpful. And any excess that you get, you can be dedicated to crafting other gear, throwing on boots if you don't already have move speed boots.
That said, Garatha got essences in this zone, so he's fine.
He's fine. We did see Quantric doing his first wand craft for his offhand wand while I was critiquing his lack of second wand. He was in the process of crafting it at that exact moment, so I do apologize to Quantric for the BM. I'm Exile into the upper prison, and Dead and Doom kind of near the start of the lower prison, opting for a bit more Delirium gameplay. Gets a jewelry reward, certainly not bad to have right now. Get a couple extra rings helps a lot. Large life flask, which is good. Had an empty slot, so certainly helpful. Quantric.
Honestly, like, even the wisdom scrolls that it costs to ID those uniques and then vendor them are impactful. He's having to sell alteration shards so he can get wisdom scrolls to do his recipe.
Yeah, that is that is a little unfortunate. Yeah. That's why we see players going out of their way to pick up an armorer's scrap, because even the wisdom scrolls that you can vendor the armorer's scrap for at this point in the race make a huge difference. Currency management is huge in these races. Players know exactly how many transmutes, alterations, and almost even wisdom scrolls they need at the early stages of these races. You're like, all right, I need an alteration to buy this gem at this point, and I need 2 alts to craft my wands, and so on. There's a lot of currency that is actually needed and 100% mandatory, so it has to be gotten.
If you want, as a more amateur player, as someone who doesn't, race a ton themselves, if you want to try and improve your times and get through the story quicker, just so that your rerolls maybe later in the league aren't quite as painful, and you maybe don't have great twitch reflexes and you don't play really quickly and stuff, just learning zone layouts and being aware of what currency you need for what crafts at what points will speed up your leveling so much without you needing to be good at video games at all. That's just, memorization of things. That's being good at studying for a test, not being good at a video game.
It's me being good at doing your homework. Homework! Octavian, you're trying to convince people to play Path of Exile by telling them to do their homework? Well, no, I don't know if this is the most convincing argument, but trust me, hear him out, chat. It's actually a lot of fun. It is actually a lot of fun. Hey, I never wanted to do my actual homework, but when it comes to doing homework for Path of Exile, yes, a lot more fun to be done. We do see the wand crafting happening for Dead and Doom. We actually saw a really nice catch-up from Dead and Doom for Brutus, but it appears that he left a little bit later his wand crafts. I think I'm Exile might already be done in that regard. I don't see any alts in his inventory, so I think he's already done it.
He was doing one recipe, and I think that's all you really do up until you get to some of the higher tier ones. I don't think you bother with a second white ring wand recipe, from what I recall of the racing strategies.
especially if you happen to get a wand that already has something on it, which can be nice to hold on to until you do get those later wand crafts. Quantric's doing really impressively here. Going hard on the Deliriums once again. I really like this shift because the last set of races that I cast, you know, just a couple weeks ago, there was not much Delirium, just a little tiny bit, like one Delirium reward tier here and there. And now we're seeing a lot more of it, so now that races have had a lot more chance to get comfortable with the Deliriums, it seems like we're seeing more of it. Unfortunately, Quantric gets Perandus coins, probably the most useless reward to get in a race, but he picks them up anyway. Can you vendor them for scroll frags?
They all vendor for a wisdom scrap. Each coin individually vendors for a wisdom scrap.
Oh my god.
So you can actually get like half a stack of wisdom scrolls.
Yo, I take it back. You pick up 40 coins, that's 40 wisdom scraps. If my math is correct, that's 200 wisdom scrolls.
Oh my god, that's insane.
Didn't even think of that. I take it back. I take it back. Brandis coin's actually a god tier reward to get in the racing scene. Wow. Who'd have thunk it? But I mean, I probably would prefer the actual currency like Dead and Doom's got here.
Yeah, essences as well. Essences are the big money.
Yeah. Essences, currency, both very nice to have.
That's a nice layout for Exile on the first half of the Merveil's Caverns.
Yeah, I blinked and I missed it.
Zooms through. I always forget which one's first and which one's second. Is it Cavern of Rage that's first?
Well,
is she sad then angry or angry then sad? I don't know.
Cavern of Anger is second? Okay.
Oh, she's just angry the whole time.
Yes. Yes. It's wrath. Wrath and then anger.
Right. So it's various degrees of being mad.
I think I remember more because of the bosses, the mini bosses you encounter. You got the lightning one and then you got the fire one.
Oh, that does make sense.
The Veil coming up for I'm Exile. First phase dodges the barrages easily. We saw from the rip clips in the previous race, lots of players getting just executed by Merveil's ice barrages. They are exceeding... Ooh, I'm Exile eats 2 quick spears to the face, but was already moving, and that's key. Even if you get hit, if you're already moving, your chances of survival go up dramatically. The classic Path of Exile strategy of run circles around the boss, or perpendicular to the boss at the very least, does play out well here in the Merveil fight, although you do need to be careful of those water geysers.
And which is worth mentioning is I'm Exile is already like halfway done with the second phase of the fight, and Quantric is only just now starting, and Exile is on a witch, so he muled.
Yeah, it seems like Quantric, who was holding a pretty nice lead there for a while, has been passed at the Merveil fight by I'm Exile, so the advantage being lost there effectively. Still a pretty good start for Quantric, and it is
potentially due to all of those deliriums slowing him down a little bit.
Yeah, but that sort of thing, that's the thing. Some of those early decisions could slow you down a bit, but pay off with long-term dividends. We shall see if his investment strategy pays off. Merveil screeching, and Dead and Doom just playing it close to the wire. Oh my god, Dead and Doom. And he's still taking all damage. Dead and Doom!
He's looting in the leftover damage.
He makes me so nervous. But
he's got cold rest, he'll be fine.
You see this consistently from
the water's
D&D,
warm, jump in.
He's fine, water's warm. I don't know about that. We see this consistently from Dead and Doom, though. Him always going, like, really low and just tanking the boss longer than feels comfortable. You just start, like, physically, like, clenching up watching Dead and Doom play sometimes. But that just shows his level of confidence. He's like, yeah, I know, I'll be fine. I'll be fine. It doesn't always pay off. Sometimes he dies.
If it's something in the story of Path of Exile, it's something in Acts 1 through 10, Dead and Doom is an expert on it. He knows how much damage it does, with regardless of how much resistance you have, how much health you might need to tank this or tank that. Dead and Doom is the story master. But I feel like, I don't know if he's seen a map. For some of the longer races that we've had.
Come on.
He's made the joke himself.
Yeah, no, it's true. Dead and Doom is the master of the story racing gameplay. But we definitely see some of the other players putting in the big action for the longer races. The races that proceed into maps, but this today session of racing is Dead and Doom's domain with all the story races we're doing today. We saw a very nice cave, I can't remember the name of it, for I'm Exile. And the Den, that's the one, the Den. And he got his second Quicksilver lined up. So we do actually see players doing that side quest to get the second Quicksilver. Very importantly, second Quicksilver can have Adrenaline rolled on it. Whether the players roll for the Adrenaline or not is up for debate. Some players consider it to be too expensive to try and roll for, costing potentially, well, if you're unlucky, dozens of ults, which is too much.
So we have one duelist in the race, Balar, who I don't know if we have a stream for it, which is why I haven't mentioned it yet, because I don't see the name on the list of streams that I can go for. But worth mentioning is that he is our one duelist in the race, and the item alert bot just pinged saying that he has a red beak.
That's a pretty nice drop when you're actually playing melee. Certainly that carries for the first 30 minutes of the race or something, potentially. Until you start to take over with some of those vendor recipes.
Probably would have liked that Screaming Eagle that Garatha got. I think it was Garatha.
I think that's even a little bit nicer.
Oh, yeah.
Currently, as the way the XP panning out, does seem that Havoc is in first. We can actually bring up the ladder here, if I remember how to use this tool correctly. We can check in on how people are going. Quadric, no, it is shaking out. It's very close at the moment. Havoc was in first for a second there, but drops down as Quadric takes the lead with a slight XP advantage. The XP at this point, a little too early to read much into it. But just in case you're curious, we have Quadric, I'm Exile, Havoc, Dead and Doom in the top 4, Park HC just a little bit behind, and Garatha a little bit behind that. Pretty close, but at this point it's all about the progression rather than the XP. The hardcore XPing will happen later as players find their place to farm and do some serious farming.
Which I anticipate being potentially the zone before Innocence in Act 5. That one's got a lot of blue packs in it and is a very nice layout to follow, though it could be a little low eye level for a 2-hour XP farm.
Yeah, I'm curious actually. I don't know. I didn't get a chance to catch any secret race practice streams. Yeah, players keep it a secret or I just missed them. But yeah, I don't know what the prevailing strat is for the 2-hour. It's been a while since we've had a 2-hour XP race, actually, that I've seen at least. So I'd be curious to see where people do choose to farm. Like you said, that Zone Before Innocence has a ton of champion monsters, so could be a go, but maybe it's too soon. We'll see.
Maybe Rooftop before Kitava, because the 2-hour mark is like a good bit past where our racers are able to do a Kitava.
Oh,
we have a
Garatha, no!
Oh, what happened? It
Killed
looks like
by
maybe
an essence monster. Yeah, the essence with the huge projectiles there. The freaking Arctic breath, shotgunning possibly. It was a Voltar Flameblood, so even if he'd killed it, it had 1 hit point left, by the way. Even if he'd killed it, the Voltar might have got him, but oh no, that was a brutal essence monster. Essences, as we've said, are very good to get, but can be risky. We are going to bring up the rip clip for that as soon as we get it. It just takes a moment, but unfortunate death for Garatha there. Looks like you will not be attempting to reroll. A little bit too short a race for a reroll at this point. A good effort for Garatha. Can we get some claps when we see players die in the chat? Because these guys put on a great show for us. They try their best, and sometimes things just don't go right. They definitely are deserving of our love. We get some White People Happy Round Hearts. Awesome claps. Either way, Garatha saluted.
Shuffle that corpse off screen. Let's get some. Pak is doing well.
I'm doing so.
He's dead. Get him out of here.
Get him off the stage. All right. Bring out your dead. All right, we throw out the dead body. He's had his moment in the spotlight. It's time for Park HC down in the bottom right. Currently sitting in ranked 6 on the XP, but the XP doesn't matter because progression is looking good. The Riverway is hitting the waypoint. He's looking good. He's refreshing the zone, looking to get that extra delirium. Ooh, I like that. You hit the waypoint, you're like, I'll make a new zone. Check the delirium. He doesn't do it. Never mind. Why did he reset then? No idea.
Maybe for Einhar. Maybe he was hoping to get a friend.
Maybe. I don't know. Well, I thought I was under something there. I was like, I know the strat, but no, maybe not. We have a clip called the coolest clip in history of PoE, but I have no idea whose clip that is or if that's the Garatha clip.
That's good marketing. I want to watch it now.
Okay, let's watch the coolest clip in the history of PoE. I think it's Garatha dying to ice. Is it indeed? It is indeed the coolest clip in the RIP in history. We do see
in, like,
the essence
right
of
on top of
hatred.
it.
He gets slapped, but he's fine. Oh my
Oh.
god!
Oh, that freeze
no!
lasts so long.
Wow, that was an absolutely huge freeze as he gets
It was
smashed by
a
those
frenzy
essence
as damaged
projectiles.
monster too. It took its
Oh,
revenge.
and it was at 1 hit point. Can you believe it? If he had had his the orb. Wait. Okay, hold on. Look at this. Ready? Orb of Storms is up. I'm gonna put this in slow motion. We need to pay attention to this. This is crazy. His Orb of Storms is up. The mob goes down to 1 hit point. The Orb of Storms drops at the exact moment. Skeleton hits him 3 times for the kill. Oh no! Oh no! Even if the Orb of Storms killed him, he might have been frozen and killed by the volatile anyway.
This is true.
Oh no!
If he had been able to smoke mine, he could have had it blinded. If he had evasion gear, maybe it could have rolled better.
Oh my god.
Coulda, woulda, shoulda.
1 point of extra damage. And he might have been okay, but maybe not. That is the most unlucky, unfortunate timing that I've ever seen. Definitely teaching the respect for the for the essence monsters. The brutal rip there. That was wow. That is a rip and a half right there. Definitely clip worthy. Coolest clip in history of PoE? Might just be. No, I don't think we missed any deaths while we were over.
Because it's cold damage.
Yes, because it's cold damage. Yes. Correct, Octavian. You did it. You got
I
there.
get it.
Nice. Alright, we have I Am Exile moving through the Vile Ruins as far as I can tell, leading the charge at the moment. Yeah, Dead and Doom just now talking to Oak. Going for that fast Oak kill again. Let's see if he pulls it off. Looking pretty good.
He's a witch this time.
Yeah, easy. Easy. Yeah, Oak goes into straight into a Mortal Call when he didn't have any charges, which is not very helpful for him. Especially against elemental damage. Oak, what are you doing? Not the play. And Dead and Doom does smash him down nice and quick. Quantric also pre-stacking his Oak, going for the Oak kill there as well. And Oak goes down not quite as fast.
No.
No. Didn't
I don't
commit.
know what really made the difference there.
It looked like Quantric backed off, killing Oak a little bit, and decided to transition over to the ads instead. Clear up those ads a little bit for safety. But it took a little bit longer, but no big deal. I'm Exile most of the way through his Vile Ruins now. Hit a bit of a dead end there, which is not too surprising. Vile Ruins can often do that to you. But does figure out his zone read and progressing through the final parts of the zone now. We'll see how Dead and Doom's clear goes. If he has a clean run through here, he might have a chance of catching up to I'm Exile in this very zone. Does hit his Delirium and gets uniques, so we'll see if that... Oh, Dead and Doom.
By the precision aura.
Very scary. A few crits maybe in there. Definitely not doing any evading. Gets 1 stack of the uniques, maybe going for the second here, getting the extra kills. We'll see if he backs off after that near miss. Maybe he's feeling a little bit rattled. Second tier comes in, and he does indeed end it. Possibly wise. Gets the wood splitter, and I did not see what the other one was. Possibly a ring?
I think it was a cobalt jewel.
Oh, yes, it was indeed a cobalt jewel. Probably not very useful. No idea what that jewel even is. Don't think any of them would be helpful in a race scenario. Can't think of a single jewel that we would want to use.
If I recall. I think it's unstable payload. I think. I might be wrong.
Okay. Well, that we'll be seeing that one play much of a factor in the race to come. We have...
it's Alex Shards.
It is. That's true.
He's gonna ID it. I want to see if I'm right. He keeps almost IDing it and then not.
I think he did, but it was just so fast. Yeah, no, it's ID'd. Unstable payload. Hey. There you go. You're all right. I feel like he was. He showed that just for you then, Octavian. Thanks, Dead and Doom. You bloody ripper, mate. Bloody legend. Quantric moving through his Vile Ruins now. I'm Exile with still a bit of a lead. Dead and Doom not quite able to catch up in that last zone. But still getting lots of XP, keeping up, getting a few extra Alk Shards from the unique drops. Hitting some good champ packs here. Brutal Shrine giving him a little bit of breathing room. Surrounded by a huge amount of monsters. Still clicks the strong box. He's not afraid. Very
It
nice.
could have been a freezes you, but he did have the knockback shrine and an orb of storms down, so
Yeah,
he
that would
had
actually
his
help a lot.
guarded perimeter in case it was a freezes you box.
The Overstorms is good insurance against the free strong boxes, but yeah, especially with that Brutal Shrine for the knockback. Actually pretty helpful. Definitely one to grab. You can see weapons for Quantric. Very small chance
Another
of that
dead
paying
end
off.
for Exile. His layouts have not been extremely cooperative. You can see that fully explored area to the left there.
Yeah, that first layer of the temple can be a little bit harder to get. Once you get through that, the run to Val is like super easy from then on. It's always just cross diagonals through the zone. But this
Oh
first
my god,
one,
that's another dead end.
yeah, it's
What
the
is
dead
this
ends on either
layout?
side. It looks
I'm
like
so
left and
sorry,
right were wrong.
Exile.
Yeah, no, that is a little bit
I
unfortunate.
think he approached it correctly too. He just got bad luck.
Yeah, just a little bit unfortunate there. And that first zone can be a little bit painful at times. But now that he is through, he has a much smoother run. Hits that Delirium and gets Talismans, which, you know, I hate Talismans dropping, but in the race, you know, maybe you might actually end up using them. He does not even look at it though.
He doesn't even turn around.
No, he's like,
Nope.
Another
Leaves
dead
it
end
out in the
for
cold.
Exile.
Yeah.
He
I
saw the
didn't want to bring
exit.
it up this time. I felt bad at this point.
Yeah, I would just like kind of kicking him while he's down.
This is actually allowed Dead and Doom to catch up. Though he is going to pause for an essence here.
Essence is definitely a good get. Almost to that Val Oversoul action now.
Then just to refresh folks' memory in chat, or for anybody who's just tuning in recently, this is going to be a 2-hour-long race for the highest level you can achieve in that time. So there's not a particular boss that they're racing for, which means they're probably going to be closer to on level for the zones that they're in at basically every point of leveling process. There's not going to be that mad dash sprint that you see in a boss-oriented race.
Yeah, certainly getting to your leveling zone earlier might help a bit, but you'd need to be there within level range so you're not getting XP penalties or anything like that. So the players have to carefully watch their XP as they're going effectively. We are going to check in on Havoc, who apparently is leading the XP charge at the moment, certainly keeping up those levels. We'll see how he's doing in progression. I'm curious to see whether his progression is matching his leveling or whether his he is. We swap over and he just killed Val. So Havoc definitely earning his place on the streamcast at the moment, as he has just taken down Val. So just pulling ahead a little bit here in the last minute or two. Very nice to see. Apparently he's a little bit of luck as well and has a couple of items which we might have to spy when he opens his inventory next. But looks like Havoc crushing it, both leading in the XP and in the progression, which is good. Not sacrificing XP for progression.
I wanted to go and spy on Havoc's profile to see what his gear was, and
Moku's?
private from what I could tell.
He's got a Moku's Embrace and a She-Breath.
Is that how it's pronounced?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's She-Breath.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Forgive
my pronunciation gaff.
I could be wrong.
Quantric has managed the Oversoul, though, as Dead and Doom goes into his own here. He's sacrificed his limb split to the Oversoul RNG gods.
I like it. Really pick it back up and vendor for the Elk Shards, or is he just throwing it down for the style points? Who's to know? No, yep, throwing it down as the sacrifice to the RNG gods, like you said. Didn't do with the big plays there. You never know. This could be secret strats. Havoc moving into the crematorium. Very nice speed here. I'm Exile, not too far behind. A little bit, half a zone behind, effectively.
Yeah, it's a small dead end for Havoc, but it's worth checking, as sometimes I think the exit can be up there, even if there's a bunch of cells. Generally speaking, though, I think if you get that tile where there's a lot of little cells off to the sides, it's just going to be a dead end.
Yeah, I like his zone read there, not like, whereas a lesser experienced racer might check each of those little bits to see if they path off. He knows that that cell cannot have a path from it, so he's like, all right, this is not the way. Instantly has the other direction.
Very cleanly moves through the rest.
Yeah, nice. And is it the piety fight now, the piety test, and it goes for a little bit of overkill on piety, but we don't see many of the races going for the piety down to 1 hit point strat because well, not necessary, and they want to be fast above all else, and Havoc is proving to be fast at the moment, cleaning up inventory a little bit there. Looks like gearing-wise, pretty okay. I did see some questions in chat. Why are they not using chests? Are they not allowed to use chests? Well, no, it is not actually a part of the rule set that they're not allowed to use chests. As it turns out, chests do have a penalty to movement speed of a few percent depending on the chest type. So most of the races will not use any chest armor for the first, well, section of the race. Eventually, they will equip them because eventually the safety that the chest provides becomes worth the trade-off in movement speed. But early on, it's all about maxing out that movement speed. And they are good enough at the game to be able to not die, despite not wearing a chest. Occasionally, see someone chuck it on for like the Brutus fight or something like that, but not even so much that these days. Unsaid rule, unspoken rule.
The few percent of like, or the few points of like evasion or armor that you get are not really gonna make the difference. If you get hit by a triple Brutus, you're gonna die regardless.
Yeah,
the old speed to not get hit by the triple Brutus slap.
Yeah, back when I was a racing pro, which was never, by the way, it used to be the strategy to throw an evasion chest for Brutus, but Brutus is a lot scarier these days, and it doesn't make that much difference, like you said. But yeah, we'll see people chuck on chest armors if they find a really good one a little bit sooner, maybe in Act 3, especially before Scepter of God, where things start to get a bit scarier, or later, certainly by Act 4.
Or if it's a 4-link. That will often be the impetus to put one on early, as the extra damage that you get then offsets the movement speed penalty for clearing faster.
Like we see with Havoc right this very moment, which is funny you should mention it, because Havoc is equipping his 4-link, but unfortunately also getting stuck by a bunch of monsters. Thankfully does get out of there without too much worry. That's definitely a way that you can die in a race. These races are doing everything they can to manage their inventory whilst doing other things. Even so much as having an extra movement key bound. You'll see a lot of the races, pretty much everyone, have an extra movement key bound on another button, whether it's like middle mouse or a space bar or A or something like that, so that they can move around while managing their inventory. And unfortunately, though, sometimes you might pick the wrong time to do it and get caught in a bunch of monsters. And certainly that can be a way to die. It takes a lot of practice to be able to manage your inventory on the fly whilst also killing monsters and moving through zones.
And a lot of like, I don't know, sort of subconscious game knowledge as well. So you can like see this enemy model and know what's going to be happening in the next few seconds. Like if you know you're in this zone and these kind of monsters spawn, you don't have to worry very much about attacks that are gonna come at you from off screen if you know everything in here is going to be melee.
Yeah, I think a lot of that stuff even starts to happen subconsciously once you've practiced a lot. It's like, you just kind of get a feel for it. Not that I would know.
You become one with the machine. The computer and the machine.
That's true. That's true. Actually, I do know a lot about this ever since I, along with my partner Amy, become the top races in the world for conversion trap racing. The grand champion world record holder for conversion trap races. So I'm basically a racing pro at this point. So you know that when you tune into my cast that you're going to be getting next level insights into conversion trap strategy.
Yes, I mean it's like there's like a little asterisk at the end there with very small text at the bottom.
Yes, indeed. We do see Havoc moving through Solaris Temple 2. Look at this guy popping off right now. We'll go over, I'd like to go over a few little bits and pieces here that some of you may already know, but for you guys who may be new to Path of Exile Racing, some of the stuff can be really interesting, and you might not already know about it. One particular thing I want to mention is the movement skill choices that you'll see almost everyone using here, and that is Smoke Mine combined with Flame Dash. So yeah, both of these here allow for a pretty interesting combination where you can effectively do a slight animation cancel and throw the Smoke Mine and Flame Dash almost at the same time and chain those together for huge amounts of movement speed. You'll see people just teleporting across the screen. And juggling the use of those takes a bit of practice, but it does prove to be very effective. There's a little bit of nuance to its use that takes a bit of practice to get that feel down.
Havoc actually despite getting a really good docks layout where he just got the quest item basically out the gate, is going to kill a little bit more in here. He doesn't feel comfortable with his XP at the moment, I suppose.
Yeah, that's interesting to see decisions like that rather than deciding to progress straight away is like actually gonna kill a little bit more because Docs does have those guaranteed champion packs at the end of each of its little branches. So he's like, hey, I know where I can find 2 champion packs real quick. So I was like, we'll get that extra XP. Around this point, we'll see Havoc taking advantage of the crafts. When you vendor craft the ones that the races have been doing, so creating the added spell damage ones using the vendor recipe, the ring and the alteration orb, to add spell damage, it has an open suffix guaranteed, so they know that they can always put resistances regardless of the rest of their gear. And this sort of thing effectively ensures against like the RNG of the race. They don't have to be like, oh, did I get enough resist? How does my gear have an open suffix? They always know their ones have open suffixes, so they can slap on 2 resistance crafts. They're getting up to an extra 40% resist. So you'll see pretty much everyone doing something like that around this point in the race. As long as they have the currency for it, so they do need to make sure they have that currency banked.
Combine that with Witch's early access to some powerful damage/res nodes right outside the starting point of the Ascendancy, and it does add that, as you said, layer of consistency, protection against RNG.
Yeah, that's it. Having something you know that you can pull off every time, despite all the random things that can happen in the game. Havoc taking a bit of damage from Gravicius there.
Yeah, flammability kind of counteracts all that good work that we just talked about, but does manage to bring down the boss chunk to half during the middle of the fight, but he's okay.
Dead and Doom look like he is swapping out to the new spell damage one there, getting that higher tier craft of spell damage at this point. Now that he can equip it. And also swapping over to a falling chest that he managed to pick up as well. So he's set up and ready for his 4-link a little bit later on. Nice thing about the change, it used to be that crafting ones would give you plus gems, so you had to stick on your 3-link, and then it kind of didn't feel quite as worth going to a 4-link. Nowadays, the wand crafts are added flat damage, so it doesn't matter where your gems are, which means you can take advantage of a 4-link chest like that. So a little bit more flexible in gearing, moving away from gem sockets being quite as brutal as they might have been.
And Dead and Doom will actually, speaking of sockets, be taking advantage of his 4-link more quickly than Havoc, because I think Havoc is still on a 3-link because his chest piece isn't cooperating with its colors.
Oh no. Yeah, he's got that extra green socket when he wants that extra blue, so not ideal. We'll see. It can be actually very difficult to correct that on low level gear. It's they can be very erratic with the socket colors. Yeah.
Because the chroming RNG is based on the stat requirements, and stat requirements are so low this early on. So while it may have a slight predilection towards rolling blue sockets, it's still going to give you reds sometimes.
Yeah, he might chrome that and go from his 3-link that he's using right now to like red, red, green, blue. And I was like, well, okay, now I'm screwed. So it's a bit awkward. We might not see him try and fix it, or he might try and fix it once he has a couple chromes banked. That can be a little bit difficult to deal with for sure.
Dead and Doom has better luck though, and does have the 3 blue 1 green that you want.
Yeah, pretty nice stuff to see for sure. Looks like Havoc moving up to the final layer of Lunaris Temple 2 here, so just moments away from Piety. Exile is proceeding pretty quickly through Lunaris Temple 1, but effectively leaving Havoc a full zone ahead at this point. Maybe even a little bit more than that, a zone and a half almost. But does make his way to Piety.
I'm not surprised to see, this like level of consistent play out of Havoc early on. I'm curious to see where he ends up as far as XP goes, because I don't know if it was just like, memeing or not, but he was asking in the Discord, and he added us in your chat there as to which zone he should farm in for XP.
I saw that. I told him ledge, but he didn't go with my strategy. I told him to farm ledge for 2 hours, but he didn't listen. I don't know why. I don't know why he wouldn't listen to the Conversion Trap Racing expert. Yeah, I think we saw like a crazy zone skip there for Havoc. There's a spot in Lunaris 2 where you can skip up a level from one of the lower sections if you find the right little branch there, which Havoc did seem to take full advantage of. Oh, he's going for Act 6 ledge. The ridge, I see. So I said ledge and he heard ridge. I see, maybe.
Okay.
Possibly.
That makes some sense. Like I was saying, it's not that tempting to go for like the end of Act 5 zone because it's gonna be a little underleveled by the time you get through to that 2 hour mark. So going for an Act 6 zone makes some sense, but there are a lot more bosses you have to do on the way there that will slow you down. Like Hitava himself is a pretty long fight, and then you have the
Yeah.
res penalty to contend with as well.
Yeah, there is a lot of time lost in some of those longer animation-heavy boss fights. We see a particularly nasty Essence mob for Exile, but lets her start her barrage, then sneaks behind her. Very nicely done. No zone skips for Exile, but still proceeding very quickly with no dead ends whatsoever. And here's Lunaris 2, so very smooth Lunaris 2. One of the easiest zones to read for sure, though sometimes finding the correct path off the bottom can be a little bit tricky. But
It's one of the.
Go on.
I was just gonna say that it's one of the most satisfying zones to see well read, because it's so narrow and massive and long. So it's like this long maze that's just perfectly solved. It's one of the little joys that I get.
Yeah, you're right. You gotta find sasatisfaction
Yeah, to reiterate.
Smaller things. I
Yeah.
just had to reiterate. Narrow and massive and long.
Okay, we can leave that behind. It's one of the smaller joys that I get out of casting.
Hey,
I really like to see a well-solved layout.
I'm totally on board with that. Finding joy in some of these little aspects of the game is huge. I remember back when I was playing StarCraft, the idea of just even finding the fundamental action of pressing buttons in the game, pressing your hotkeys to be fun, makes a big difference to enjoying the game as a whole. And yeah, finding satisfaction in the small things, I think, is a driving force for races, being like, oh yeah, that little skip was really good, or the way I killed that pack was felt perfect, like it felt smooth. Smooth gameplay is immensely satisfying, and as you practice racing more and more and things get smoother for you, the satisfaction levels of playing Path of Exile goes up a lot. I remember when I first started studying racing years and years ago, watching Havoc VODs to learn how to play the game a bit more effectively. I was like, wow, Path of Exile gets a lot more fun the more like smoothly you can play it. So I totally get you. Dead and Doom getting his resistance crafts now as well. A little bit later, but not needing it for the earlier zones. He's feeling confident, but getting it before he heads on. Going back to Act 2 to pick up some gems, it looks like here. Checking over his gems. Picking up Control Destruction.
That will potentially hurt his Ellie overload uptime. I think it's only focus that he grabbed.
Looks like
as you don't have a lot of crit to offset the Control Destruction reduction.
I think he did go 2 Controlled Destructions there, so he's like not worried about that.
I can't see the gem. I don't recognize the gem art.
But slapping in those gems, looks like leveling 1, just doing a little bit of organization there. Scepter of God, Fire Exile, and Quantric, Dead and Doom, just getting started on his now. Havoc, however, in the actual Dominus fight now. I think we have enough time to even full screen him, so I will do so. A little bit of Havoc gameplay action. Orcus the Reaver, the final of the mini-bosses. Dominus descends like an angel. Let's see. Havoc with the resist crafts looking very comfortable. It's different to the Dominus boss kill race we saw earlier, where things looked a lot more sketchy. As you see, the racers here aren't going for the fastest Dominus kill. They're maintaining their levels, they're maintaining their gear, crafting resistances, and much more comfortable Dominus kill for sure.
Still on the 3-link. Has that empty green socket.
Yeah, a little bit unlucky with the socket crafting, and only the one chromatic is too much of a risk to try and craft, especially mid-boss fight. It'd be awkward to not have to go back down to a 1-link.
It doesn't really seem like the 3-link is costing him that much, though, as the boss fight's going decently smoothly. The second phase is taking a little longer than perhaps you'd like, but as you mentioned, he's a little tankier, so it's not really too much of a risk.
Not too shabby, and he makes his way into Act 4 in the Aqueducts. I do a little bit of extra killing in here to keep the XP up. Bypasses the Delirium. Don't know if he meant to. He went through it, but Flame Dash actually skips it if you don't end or start at it. If you just go straight through it, it teleports rather than movements you through it. Looks like Dead and Doom getting a bit of help from Einhar, our best buddy, and decides to pick up the Delirium in Scepter of God. Gets another unique reward. It's getting a bit harder and harder to find uniques that you can actually use, but still Alk Shards. Big shrine with lots of evangelist bubbles defending. And I'm Exile taking on the mini bosses and getting actually taking a lot of damage from Orcus the Reaver there. Slowly regenerating because his life flost's not looking super effective right now.
And it's a bated breath and a veil of the night for Dead and Doom, and he actually puts the bated breath on.
Not your bated breath?
No. I mean, it's a pretty damn good budget belt for like ES builds. He's got a pretty significant bubble now.
Yeah, look at
He's
that.
He's as close to being an ES build as you're ever going to be in this kind of context, you know?
Yes, in a race, yeah. And it does have some damage percent on it, doesn't it? 20% damage?
I will check.
That's actually not something you would get on a belt slot almost ever in a racing scenario, so getting a little bit of damage there certainly doesn't hurt.
10%.
10% damage. All right, well, that's very minor, but, you know, it's still a boost. That could be several points of increased DPS. And we do see that DPS being leveraged in full force now. Bit of a colorful filter party happening on top of the boss. I don't know how the racers can not like turn off their item overlays when they're like fighting a boss like that. I always like toggle it off whenever they're on screen like that. But a lot of people I just see just, yep, don't worry about it. It's fine. I'll just fight through the labels. Like making the things more difficult.
Quantric has brought down his dominus here. Our Templar is still trooping along.
It's good to see.
Has been overtaken by a number of witches at this point, but is still at a quite respectable pace.
Looks like Quantric might have hit that Delirium but instantly cancelled it, possibly. And maybe that's just because Delirium in Aqueducts actually gets scary very quickly because of the distance you travel. That Delirium effect ramps up and the monsters get super tanky and dangerous within, you know, a very short order of time. So maybe just not even worth trying.
I remember at League start, before some of the initial rounds of nerfs to Delirium, the mobs at the other end of a Blood Aqueducts were legitimately tankier than Act 10 Kitava. It was pretty silly.
Yeah, that really ramps up once you get to that full Delirium effect. So yeah, we're not saying any of the players take the Delirium in the Aqueducts. Possibly a smart move. I'm Exile currently looks to be in second place as far as progression goes, but also in terms of XP. Heading through Dried Lake with Havoc being, again, still about one zone ahead. As he's, still a zone and a half to 2 zones ahead, as he's actually in Mines 2, not Mines 1 at this point. So Havoc just flying. I'm Exile keeping up, but not really able to close that gap. I've seen almost the same amount of distance.
I'm curious as to whether Havoc... Oh, he does go for the passive point here. Okay. This is one of the easier ones to justify. It's very often right along your path anyways. And in a 2-hour race like this, the extra passive point will make the difference. I think in the Act 5 Kitava, maybe we don't see it if some of the layouts aren't favorable.
Yeah, that's it. We're getting to almost the halfway point, so still a decent chunk of progression to go before the races settle into their farming in whichever zone that might end up playing out as, which I am still curious to see about. Dead and Doom gets currency rewards for his Delirium and Dried Lake. Could be nice. Could be nice. Still a fair bit of gearing to be done. Some things like wands and stuff are fairly settled. It's unlikely that they'll change their wands again. But the rest of that gear is up for upgrading for sure. Wouldn't mind a few nice upgrades from this point.
A couple of fusings. Though Dead and Doom is one of our racers that has a 4-link, so won't be as relevant for him.
Yeah, that certainly helps. Having that full link ready and set. Hopefully Havoc can get his sorted out at some point. Havoc, he's in Duresso's Dream, getting caught in one of these little battle areas, which you can lose a lot of time to. As we've seen in previous races, it is actually possible to skip these entire encounters with good use of movement skill. There's a few strategies. You can do a blink arrow across, but we've even seen examples of Smoke Mine and Flame Dash being able to pull it off as well, depending on, I think, on the angle of it. But Havoc not getting it there, and actually not even attempting it, it seems, just going in for the kills. Possibly because he's like, I need the XP anyway, it's fine.
Yeah, he was XPing in docks earlier as well, so he may just be worried in general about his XP, as he has been progressing through the zones very quickly.
Yeah, it's funny, one of the first problems you run into as someone who's like practicing and learning racing is actually being super under-leveled. You'll do fine at the running fast part, but then you'll be like, hold up, I also need to kill monsters as I go too. You're like, okay, I'll stop killing monsters and go fast, and then all of a sudden you're 5 levels under, and you start to get a little bit under-leveled, and that just snowballs really quickly. We've seen that happen even at higher levels in racing, where players will just have a negative effect like that, just snowball and get worse and worse and worse as the race goes, and it just becomes impossible to catch up.
I just want to mention that in the background, my boy Pac is doing cremation in his Dominus fight right now, which is exciting. He's also in his Dominus fight, so he may not be going as zoomy. But cremation's cool.
We'll bring him up. I'm going to swap out Quantric for a second for the Park HC action.
Well, he's still using the Orb of Storms and stuff to clear with. It's just cremation is for bossing, so we're not going to see it right away.
Octavian is not lying. I do indeed see cremation on his skill bar there. Not something we've seen much racing for the cremation action. I'm Exile does the skip, as you see in the top left there. He smoke mines down to the bottom corner and then quickly smoke mines to the other side and gets the full skip. So not going for those extra XP kills. Instead going for the zone progression. Skips as much as possible. And he's still at level 31. Not much... I think he might be about half the level behind Havoc, but given their progression difference, that's not too bad at all. So he's fine on XP, it seems.
Yeah, I mean, given the progression difference, that probably explains why Havoc was stopping to and like not bothering to try and skip the packs of mobs.
Yeah,
Duresses.
Comfortable with the getting the extra experience now, trading off a little bit of progression speed. That said, he's still a decent chunk ahead, but I'm Exile has closed the gap a bit. That little skip might only seem like a minor detail, but that's like 30 seconds, 30 seconds of zone progression catch up, and we see him actually in the same zone now instead of like a full zone ahead. I'm Exile catching up, closing the gap. XP rank has dropped to 3rd now. But
and he's already shown himself to be, like, despite relatively new to the scene, he's already shown himself to be quite a contender in this race. Like, he beat Dead and Doom in an Act 3 story race. That's something to be proud of for sure.
It's very cool to see. Yeah, that's true. I had not personally heard too much about I Am Exile until today, so it's cool to see someone I'm less familiar with. That might be my bad, but someone I'm less familiar with doing so well in the races here, and seems to be in fine form, absolutely crushing it.
He's much newer to the scene. He did an interview in the last race that I casted that he was in, and I forget exactly which league he said he started in. I think it might have been like Legion or something. It was extremely recent.
That is very recent. That should be any of you might be curious about getting into Path of Exile Racing, but are like demotivated by the fact that, oh, I haven't been playing for years. That should be very motivating, because someone who's like, that is very new to the scene to be racing at this level. He
said he had come over from like high-level World of Warcraft gameplay, and
Metamorph,
some
apparently.
of the skills were transferable. Metamorph.
Yeah. Some of the concepts and things like that. Still a lot of actual Path of Exile related things to learn. But yeah, Metamorph
even more recent.
Yeah, super recent. What's that, 2 leagues? Crazy. Really impressive to see. Wow.
No, Metamorph was last league, wasn't it? Am I going crazy? Was there a league I forgot?
Yeah, no, I lose track of this as well.
They all blend together. It's just one big, unending march of Path of Exile.
When was Ambush League again? That was pretty recent, right?
Yeah,
Ambush League.
Ambush is before my time. Ambush is in the Misty times for me. I started in Warband.
Ooh, Dead and Doom eating a lot of swords there. Thankfully, they finally fixed the swords for Duresso fight. They do have a little bit of a wind-up now before they start dealing damage. Instead of instantly appearing underneath your character and murdering you, the swords now actually function in a reasonable way. Which is great to see.
Thank you for also being excited about that. When I read the patch notes for the swords having a wind-up and got like really hyped about it, a lot of my chat didn't understand, because now Duresso's just like a pushover, you know? Like, if you're leveling with any sort of competent leveling setup and you're taking your time or something, it doesn't really matter. He's just going to fall over whether you stand in swords or not. But There was a time, especially for me, not as a great player earlier in my PoE career, where Duresso swords were the thing I hated the most.
Yeah, they were one of those mechanics
Rant
that
over.
didn't really have like very good skilled gameplay counter because they just appeared. But now a lot nicer for sure. But I feel your frustration in that rant, Octavian. I can feel it, buddy.
Thank you.
But
I'm just glad I have a kindred spirit.
I'm with you. They were pretty BS before. Exile was pretty smooth Duresso fight. Maybe it would be cool to see ZiggyD make Duresso a little bit scary again in the future in terms of his general aggression, maybe how fast he zips around and stuff. But it's at least a cleaner fight for now. We're going to take the opportunity now that we've just had some boss kills go down to quickly check out some clips. We have a clip from Techie. Let us see what has happened while we've been away. Some wide screen gameplay for you folks. I have a Techie clip as he moves into his Dominus fight. I'm on slow motion from before. I'm going back up to normal speed. I don't know, is this very cinematic? Maybe a bit too cinematic. Okay, speed 1 times. Pre-stacking for the minor bosses. Chipped that by a couple of fireballs. Oh yeah, no, we got blended. Yep. That's pretty nasty. You let that Cycloner get on top of you at this point with this level of gear. That is all over. Oh yeah, look at those absolute chunks. Looks like he even eats the Leap Slam from the Fireball Leap Slammer too. So he's kind of getting caught by the Cycloner and then the Leap Slammer finishes him off. Well, Cycloner finishes him off. Leap Slammer assists. A bit of a team effort there for sure. A little bit brutal. He was the cremation gameplay since we missed it. Oh no, we're seeing some cremation gameplay on screen, but also the cremation Dominus clip. I'm curious to see how effective this is for the boss kill. Is it better than the Stormblast mine action? He's doing both of them. Gets the cremations down and the Stormblast. Hey, that looks pretty good. That's some pretty good damage there. Let's skip ahead for the second phase.
What's he saying? Cremation is king? Is that what he said?
Did he type that in chat, did he? I skipped ahead a little bit.
He did.
Nice.
That's wonderful. Well, you missed the memes by skipping.
Not king enough though, because he did have the portal out still, just saying. So the brags and then the portal out. Shameful display. Shameful display. But I do like to see something different, and a little bit of cremation gameplay is very cool to see.
There's
head back now.
There's really interesting non-related non-race related cremation tech, where if you use some of the new cluster jewel notables that give you additional stacks of intensify, you can actually shrink the AoE enough on their spread that all of the balls land right on top of the cremation geyser. And you can get massive single target damage so long as the boss doesn't move.
Nice, yeah, so long as the boss doesn't move 1 pixel.
Well, if you have enough AoE scaling otherwise, then like the explosions have some radius. It's like the size basically of a Vol Blade Vortex or something.
I like it. Wow. Single point of impact cremation or cremation action. Oh no, Dead and Doom. Oh my god. Dead and Doom gets caught in a pack of the spiky tail puncher things. I'd never know their name.
Gut Rippers.
Gut Rippers, that's the one. Ooh, they hit hard. Their bleeds are nasty. It didn't look like it was the bleed at that point, just the fact that he was in the middle of the pack. You see this a lot in racing, actually, and as you can tell, it happens to the best of them, where they just teleport into the middle of a pack, use the movement skill, the wrong position, get caught in a pack, and shredded. It can happen in the blink of an eye, just like that, even to the best of players. Absolutely brutal. We'll get a clip when we can, but definitely some claps for Dead and Doom for a phenomenal racing effort here. He was crushing. He was crushing for sure. Presented a big threat for Havoc and I'm Exile, but not any longer. No longer.
He's got to be gutted.
Yeah, that's pretty brutal. I know he can take the deaths hard from time to time, Dead and Doom.
I don't get okay.
Clap death. We're gonna get in possibly Quantric? Do I have Quantric on screen at the moment?
Doesn't look it.
No, let's get Quantric on screen then. Quantric is caught back up and actually taken the XP lead. So we're going to bring Quantric up on screen in the top right. We're going to kick dead body of Dead and Doom off the screen and get Quantric up in here. The Templar coming back on screen, moving from the bottom left where he was before to the top right. Good to see some Templar action, not only in the race, but actually doing well. and XP rank 1 at the moment, in front of Havoc for the XP. A little bit behind in progression though, but we do see Havoc in the Malachi fight. Second phase. First phase coming up for Home Exile. Second phase. First phase can actually be a little bit scary, but Havoc managing second phase very cleanly, it looks like. Final heart phase. Lots of damage. Easy kill on the heart. Dodges the tentacles with ease. Lays down all of the lightning damage and gets the kill done quite smoothly. Very nice to see.
And forgot to paint the stairs, apparently. It's an interesting graphical bug. Very smooth movement.
Like, paint the stairs? What, is this some racing strategy I haven't heard of?
It's code. You wouldn't understand, Ziggy. You haven't been doing
that's
it.
What the kids are calling it these days. I see. Painting the stairs.
He actually is going to make use of that green socket now. This might be why he didn't recolor it before. He didn't need the 3-link or a 4-link up until now. That's a Fizzora with Flicker, boys.
Yep. You make me very nervous, Havoc. Sitting around a
He's running chain.
Sub-Fizz.
That's the point I was getting to. He's running chain.
Chain on his Orb of Storms then.
Yes. Yes.
Very cool. Okay, cool. Lots of clearing boosted potential, since this is indeed an XP race, going for the extra clearing potential on the Orb of Storms with the chain. Cool to see, for sure.
Though not high enough level to use it yet.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, I thought chain was level 38. I was just about to ask that. I was like, wait,
he got it
the thing really behind?
But he's not using it yet.
He's got it in his inventory, I see. Getting ready for the chain action once he settles into a bit of farming. Does hurt the damage, but you don't need the damage so much on the Orb of Storms once you're not boss killing. And you can always take the chain out for the bosses. So, a decent strat there, I like it. I have used Orb of Storms at an endgame build before, and it's actually a pretty good clearing skill once you get that chaining happening.
Oh, yes.
Havoc apparently gets a Adrenaline Quicksilver Flask, so his second Quicksilver now is a super go fast one, with additional charges as well as the prefix, which is very nice to get. So Havoc already zooming even harder. That's a very fast boss kill. That little boss is no more.
He can afford chain. He doesn't seem to need damage.
Yeah, no, he's got the damage sorted for sure. And nowadays the players also have the Lightning Spire Traps. That's the new skill that's been worked into the rotation here. That was from the Gravicious kill earlier. It takes a little while after the kill to get the levels to be able to equip it, but Lightning Spire Trap plays a huge role on the bosses.
All over the place. Look at that.
Oh, Vic, what's going on?
This is what I was talking about with the stairs earlier.
I do hope that his GPU is okay. Havoc going for the extra low texture version of Path of Exile. Maybe perhaps providing some sort of racing advantages, but either way, he doesn't blink, doesn't let holding back. Havoc's timer isn't working. Havoc's timer is at 0, yes. No, don't worry about it, it's fine. We'll just go off the other timers. It is all good. We know where he is. Doesn't matter.
Everybody's going to finish at 2 hours anyways.
Yes, the
race isn't a race to a boss. Everyone's going to get the same time. They're all going to get 2 hours.
Yeah, there's no need to check the timer at the end.
This racing competition is. That's how neck and neck everyone is. I predict everyone will finish this race with the same time.
That is insane. That's a close finish right there. Park actually dropping very low, trying to pick up that delirium, but gets caught by a bunch of the projectile shooting mobs there. Manages to just clear out. Very scary stuff for a second, for sure. But yeah, Havoc's running so fast that his timer hasn't even started yet, and he's halfway through the race. It's ridiculous, really. But no, the timers are just for the race's benefit themselves, so they know approximately where they're at on time and whether they need to change their current strategy. Because there's a few things that can happen in the race where you get a little bit of an info that someone else is, really ahead of you, and you're like, okay, I need to take some more risks to catch up. Or you have a good lead, and it's like, okay, I can play a little safer, prevent the potential death. Or, the time, I'm a little bit further behind based on the timer than I should be at this point. It might be time to do something a little bit different. Skip over some zones.
It's risky.
Yeah, do something risky, which I like to see. I like to see it when there's lots of pressure on and the racers are taking big risks, doing crazy things they might not have practiced even, to try and catch up. Quantric eking out a very good XP lead here. Still Havoc with the progression lead though, so an XP lead now can translate to advantage long term for sure. However, It could change very quickly if Havoc settles into a farming zone first and starts getting bonkers XP. As long as he does it in a way that doesn't see too much of an XP penalty. At the moment, we see him almost level 38 in a level 42 zone, so he's right on the line there, right on the cusp, and he needs to watch it for sure. But I mean, that's where the races live, right on the line.
My initial estimate was an underestimation for sure. Like, we've still got another 40 odd minutes left in the race, 50 odd minutes left in the race even, and now we're into the zone leading up to Innocence, the Chamber of Innocence, Sanctum of Innocence, Chamber of Innocence.
Yeah, that's it. We were originally wondering whether this would be a zone that people might farm, but it is way too soon. The races are too fast for that. That was not going to be proven to be the case. We're not going to see 50 minutes of farming Chamber of Innocence, I don't believe. The XP penalty will kick in too soon. But the question is, where will they go? Let's find out. It's a mystery to me. I haven't done any practice. I haven't done any research on the 2-hour XP race. This is new to me at the moment. I don't know what the strategy is currently.
New to a number of our racers too. I wouldn't be surprised if we see some disagreement on which zone should be stopped in.
Yeah, that would be cool to see. And I mean, like we said earlier, Havoc was in our chat being like, hey, where should I farm? So, asking. Yeah, like Dead and Doom says in chat, we might see some farming of this zone to boost the levels. So that's something that you'll see sometimes in races like this is the players will farm somewhere, not their final zone, but get an XP lead, especially if the next few zones, or if there's some zones coming up that aren't great places to kill a lot of mobs in. And especially if they're dangerous, it means you can get an XP lead and skip a bunch of zones, then start to fall behind in XP, and it'll even out. So that can be a valid strat.
Absolutely fantastic to do that in. Like, you have blue packs galore. You have that big, thick assortment of blue packs at the end that Havoc is just meeting with now. And the mobs in here aren't that dangerous. You can be mobbed sometimes by the I don't know the name of the monster, but the guys that dual wield the maces. And if you let a bunch of those come up and dual strike you at the same time, then you're in trouble. But pretty much everything else can be easily manually avoided.
Yeah, absolutely huge XP. I would not be surprised since Havoc got here first to see Havoc overtake Quantrix's XP lead at this point. Quantrix will get there pretty soon, but we might see Havoc shoot up to XP rank 1. He's pretty close, if not there already. But yeah, the absolutely crazy XP. Just like you can tell just by the visual density of the zone and how many champ packs there are. It's pretty easy to see that there's just a lot of XP to be had in this zone for sure.
Yeah. In some of our previous races that have gone through this zone where racers have stopped here to farm, we've seen numbers in excess of 100 million XP an hour in like Act 5, which is a little silly.
Yeah, Dead and Doom in chat saying the only reason you progress from this zone, like suggesting that you wouldn't otherwise because it's such a good XP zone, is you just, in 2 hours, it's too long, so you'll get an XP penalty by the end of it, and at that point it becomes better to move ahead and farm a less effective zone with less XP penalty, since you just, you'll get more XP even though the zone would be far worse.
I'm just curious as to where that ends up being. Like, if it's just you go to Rooftop, or you actually bite the bullet and finish off Kitava.
Yeah, that's only a couple extra zones, but like you said, Kitava kind of costs a lot of time. It'll be curious to see for sure. I do see Park HC with the Crematorium action pre-stacked on the Malachi. Malachi instantly moves though. Lol, Crematorium. Cremate even, Crematorium. It's good on the hearts though.
Say, we're a bit beyond Act 3.
Crematorium skill, mate. It's he found it in the Crematorium. Don't worry about it.
Pak is out of flask charges here though. See whether or not he portals.
He's got one banked.
This is brave not doing so.
No, he's got this calculated. See, he's like, okay, I'll get a fast charge off the heart. It's easy. He's only got 1 life flask. Dude's confident. He's not even worried. Look, two mana flasks, 1 life flask, 2 quicksilvers. That is a confident flask bar right there.
Perhaps overconfident. Chunk to half. He's okay.
He gets that Malachi kill without too much difficulty once Malachi stopped moving around so much. He had the Crematorium stacked up.
Quantric is moving on quickly. Quantric is doing Innocence.
Yeah, maybe opting to not farm the zone. As I said earlier, Havoc has taken a rather large XP lead now over Quantric, who had the XP lead for a while in progression, with Havoc shooting up to level 40 and still farming the zone. But like you said, Quantric going for the Innocence kill, not going for the extra levels for the safety, opting to progress right now. Maybe he farms after Innocence. That would be very strange, but maybe he's just going to go straight into progression. I'm curious to see.
Yeah, Bone Pit is not nearly as good as Ossuary. Like if this were the Act 10 version of this area, the mirrored version down in Act 10, maybe you could say Ossuary would be the better one to farm in, but like Bone Pit is a much worse and clunkier layout, so you're not going there. He's like Rooftop or moving on to Act 6.
Yeah, I don't like
Moving
any
on
of
to
those
Act 6
zones,
is
really.
really time consuming.
Like maybe Rooftop, but I think likely maybe moving on to Act 6. I'd like to see some
so
action.
much more dangerous too.
Yeah,
like
it's a lot
you
scarier.
get mobs that are so much rippier, and you get temp chains on you.
Oh yeah, the cursing, screaming monsters. Not ideal. Definitely.
Oh, chunk to half there by not even Innocence himself, but an ignite from one of the unique mobs.
The Innocence fight can be a bit of a hurdle in the races. We've seen plenty of deaths from Innocence. Tagging with a out of position beam. You're in the wrong spot and you get beamed. Or eating a slam is enough to take a player's life instantly. But Quantric with the big damage, getting his Innocence kill, and seemingly progressing immediately. So, yeah, not XP farming at all in the zone.
Oh no!
Ooh, goes very low on that first pack after Innocence.
That proximity shield, it almost cost him his life. He couldn't damage any of the monsters because they were all safely inside of it.
Yeah, when you can't kill the monsters, that's when they are at their most dangerous. As often seems to be the case.
When they get to do things. Most enemies don't get to do anything in this game.
It is very scary. Yeah, it's not what you want to see. Monsters living, that's when they present the biggest threat.
At least until you're like through to the end game, and then Detonate Dead becomes the biggest threat, so dead monsters are scarier. Havoc still resetting his zones, though. He was just up in front of Innocence. That might have been the run where he went for it, but it isn't. He's actually just going to pick up the starting nodes at Templar now, as those are fairly efficient damage nodes.
Yeah,
Quantric gets his name in lights.
As he hits the zone first. you gotta like it, but then you gotta be, I wonder why I'm first here then, and Havoc, who is seemingly ahead in progression, is not leading anymore. You have to know at that point that Havoc has stopped to XP farm, but Quantric seems to know what he's doing. Havoc is 3 levels ahead now on Quantric, the second place player. Can he take that XP lead, which is still continuing to compound upon, and then do some exceedingly fast progression by just skipping everything? If he commits to it, it could work.
I think Quantric needs to be like skipping more stuff as he's going through these zones. It will cost him in terms of the XP. He'll arrive at wherever he wants to farm in. Like he might arrive wherever he wants to farm a little under leveled if he does so, but he's got to get there quickly in order to make up the deficit he's now incurred to Havoc.
Dude, I don't think Quantric can afford to skip much. If he skips, he could maybe get away with skipping 1 zone worth of XP, because he just hit 41, I think.
It's a catch-22. It's really spooky. I don't know if there's I don't think there's a correct answer to this problem. I think he just is too far behind to make up that difference, even if he gets there. But I don't know. I feel like you take the riskier play if you're behind anyways.
Yeah,
unless you're just angling for a second or third place.
Yeah, this is the dynamic we're going to see in the coming minutes of the race, is Quantric progressing whilst having to maintain XP, as much as possible so he doesn't hit a penalty by the time he hits his farming zone of choice. Whereas Havoc would just be able to go take his Quicksilver of Adrenaline that he's got and go as fast as possible and skipping over everything.
I've forgotten the waypoint is a decent distance away too. You can't even reset Rooftop easily, so he's definitely going back.
Rooftop is a bad farm. You're right. Yeah, no easy access for that. Here's the other thing you're about to see is Quantric move into a Kitava fight with a lot less level of safety than what Havoc would once he opts to go for Kitava,
True.
if he's not just farming here for the rest of the day. But yeah, level 41 Kitava kill, going to be a lot scarier than, say, a level 45 Kitava kill. And we are indeed seeing Quantric move in to his Kitava kill. So let's see whether he gets caught out by any punches or anything like that. The flaming ember tosses, the punches, the swipes, all that stuff is a big ouch right now.
Yeah. He's got the DPS to insta phase him after a single ability though.
Yeah, that certainly helps a lot. Still, it only takes one mistake at 960 HP to get effectively one shot by some of this stuff. But no, I think you're right. The level of experience the races have here, the skills, and I mean, if we were seeing a Kitava burst kill race, right? They would be doing it scarier than this. So I think Quantric seems to have it under control.
Has to be exceedingly cautious in the heart phase too, as arguably there's more risk of death here to the Flicker guy than the Kitava himself, because you can't manually dodge Flicker. It teleports behind you.
Yeah, that is, like you said, the damage doing a lot of work for Quantric there, and killing even the heart fast enough that the ads barely present much of a threat. They weren't even having a chance to attack there. So actually a very clean Kitava kill for Quantric as he makes it through.
He's taking his time.
Yeah, he's got plenty of time now to sort out the inventory, check over the gear, get an idea of the picture of your character and whether you need to change anything. Havoc, still XPing. He's still going for it. Where is he going to stop with the XP? Is he going to go until he starts hitting XP penalty a bit beyond?
He's logging again, so not Innocence this time. Maybe the next run.
He's just about to hit level 45 from the looks of things, which puts him within 2 levels of the zone level. It's 43, I believe, for this zone, if I remember correctly. No, 41, so it's actually 4 levels. So maybe he pushes out 1 more level here and then progresses?
If so, it would be on this run, as he's very close to hitting that breakpoint.
Quantric now doing the full suite of crafting that we often see in some of these longer races, where the players, before progressing, after getting the Kitava XP penalties, take any open suffixes they can find on their gear, unless they're literally about to replace the gear, and put resistances on them so that they don't get instantly murdered by, like, say, fire damage in this first zone, which can certainly happen. And the next zone after it.
Does he bother with killing Tukohama? It is a much faster boss fight than Kitava. There's no phases to work your way through.
True. I mean, it's a passive, but we're getting into the last 40 minutes of the race here. Is that passive going to pay off?
I think you do, because, like,
25 seconds?
I don't know. This zone doesn't seem to be particularly great for farming, and after Tukohama, you do get to Ridge, which is what Havoc was saying might be his final XPing point.
That's true. Park HC also opting to go for the fast progression, same strategy as Quantric, as he goes straight into his Innocence fight without any farming as well. Havoc and I'm Exile, the two that appear to be going for the farming. And I reckon I hedge my bets on the fact that if we look at the ladder, we'll see that there'll be a little bit of a division of some people now who have dropped a lot. If only we could see the progression on the ladder, because we'll see people topping the ladder on XP by large amounts. So it's I'm Exile, Chip Idiot as well seems to be farming XP, because if he was progressing, he probably wouldn't be at 43. And Havoc.
He is.
He is progressing?
No, he is farming.
Farming.
If he was progressing, he'd be...
I was going to say, that's very surprising. That's like crazy. That guy's like winning the race if he's progressing at level 43. We might even get Chip Idiot up on screen soon so that we can... If he's streaming. Is he streaming? He is. I think I'm going to, once Park finishes his kill, and get Chip Idiot up on screen so we can check in on how he's going with his XPing too.
And Quantric does bring down Tukohama, kind of as expected. I'm curious as to whether he goes beyond Ridge. This is the zone Havoc was mentioning earlier. This might be where we stop. It is also a zone that's relatively easy to reset, as it does have that waypoint at the beginning, so you can just keep, logging at the end. Oh, he's
for
going and
Twilight
doing,
Strand.
yeah, maybe he needs a particular gem that he's missing.
Yeah, possibly. The Twilight Strand Deliriums are also pretty good, but I don't know if he's going for that. It's also a little bit risky with the spirits. You gotta watch those spirits. All right, we're gonna substitute in Outpark HC for Chip Idiot, who seems to be topping the XP charts at the moment. Is likely power leveling it out at the moment, so is pretty much neck and neck with I'm Exile for the XPing. So we see an interesting division here in this race now, where Cruntrick leading progression by a huge margin, with Havoc, who got to Chamber of Innocence several minutes before him, still XPing in Chamber of Innocence. So how will the strategies pay off in the longer term for the race? Will Havoc be able to just progress so fast that that time lost is worth it? Or will
have to wait
Quantrick
very long to find out.
XPing now? Yeah. If Quantrick starts XPing now and then, is able to catch up quickly, how will it play out? Pretty difficult to tell, actually. I mean, it looks like, oh wow, Havoc's gonna win it now, but Havoc will then have to go kill Innocence, takes several minutes. Kill Kitava, takes several minutes, and then he's got to progress through those zones, and Quantrick's done all of that already. Havoc still farming another zone reset. I thought he'd do one more level. Looks like he's going for at least 2. Getting maximum possible XP from this zone before he moves on.
Exile is moving on to his Innocence fight here, though. And just absolutely demolishing it.
So, yeah, interesting. I'm Exile backing off on the XP a lot sooner than Havoc, getting a couple of levels. Kind of like splitting the difference on Quantrick and Havoc's strategy, effectively. Progressing sooner, sense. But getting some XP fast.
Havoc has had the benefits of playing around in the XP pool for a little longer, so he's gotten the that little bit of a lead, so he can maybe afford to take it a little bit slow leaving, even. We'll see. Exile is absolutely shredding his way through this fight, though. He's going to be done with it quite quickly.
How are you calling it at the moment? What strategy do you think will reign supreme, Octavian?
Oh, Quantrick is even moving on from Ridge. I don't even know what the strategies are anymore.
It's true. It's a bit hard to read.
He's on into prison. He's just going.
Where is he going? Where is Quantrick going? He's like, I'm going to maps, baby. Best XP is in maps. It's like 2-hour map rush. It has been done. Act 10 Kitava, I think, has been killed in just under 2 hours, if I recall correctly. So the XP though might not be quite as good though. He's maybe going to maps. Forest, maybe Forest. Could be a go.
He's got ZiggyD to deal with now. That's another boss fight on his
3 bosses he has to progress through. Havoc is going for another run. He's resetting again. He's still going for it. What is going on?
He's committed at this point.
That looks like a man who knows what he's doing. I'm gonna have to say I'm getting the feeling in the pit of my stomach that Havoc's strategy is gonna win out here. I think he's just going to fly once he gets all this XP here. Quantrick's going to start to catch up, maybe even catch up in XP, and then Havoc will be going.
Is this man going to kill Innocence?
Wait, is he?
Is he going to do it? He just logged again. He's running the zone again.
All right. If Havoc decides to not progress, then I'm going to change my vote.
You cast your vote too soon.
I may have. I'm working under the assumption here that Havoc has a big brain play. Maybe he does. Maybe my brain is just too small to comprehend. He's stuck in Groundhog Day loop. Farming Chamber of Innocence like absolute crazy. Beyond the point I would have expected. I was thinking last level it was gonna start moving on, but maybe not. I don't know anymore. I don't know what's gonna happen.
Chip is still on Innocence too, but I think Chip is what, a level or even more than that behind? I don't have the ladder in front of me.
We do have this Shrewdness fight for Quantrick going on in the top right. Quantrick not going for any particular XP advantages for any of this progression or boss killing. He's doing it the old-fashioned way, like you would if you were progressing as quickly as possible, effectively. and does an excellent set of dodges on the Shivrita Slam. Very comfortably managing. Playing it pretty safe, actually. Not even getting hit once during that second phase from the looks of it.
Where is he going? I'm so...
He's going. That's where he's going. He's just going.
He is going.
He's
yes.
gone.
Oh, Exile.
He's
Exile's moved on. Oh, Exile moved on a little while ago. Sorry, I got them confused. Chip is still going. Chip is the one who hasn't moved on yet. He's Havoc's farming buddy.
Yeah, so we see Chip seemingly going for a similar strategy to Havoc. I'm Exile splitting the difference in the strategies, and Quantric for the ultimate uber progression strategy where he just never stops. There will be 2 hours will come and go, and this guy will be still playing the character. He'll be progressing. He'll be in maps. He'll be going for world first shaper kill in a 2-hour race. He's going for it. Quantric is not stopping. Nothing can stop him. You cannot hold him back. Maybe he's just going. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Did anyone tell him that it's a 2-hour race? Or...
Dude is on a mission. He looks like he knows what he's doing. I mean, he's blessed by the Templars there. And look at that Templar. Look at the brain. The glint of brain. Oh god, that Templar picture cracks me up. We'll see if Western Forest is the farm. He's kind of just running along the road, so he's killing a bit extra to keep his XP up, but no, I suspect he's continuing his progression.
Hang on. I'm Exile had progressed, right? Why is he back in Chamber of Innocence?
It's an unusual, it's an unorthodox order to do things in. You would think that you would get all your XP and then kill Innocence, but he opted to do the Innocence kill and then come back for XP. I am question marking.
Maybe he had a different strategy before and he's adapting it on the fly because he's seeing how successful Havoc's strategy is.
Maybe he's like, oh my god, Havoc is 49, I got an XP. I do not even know anymore. But Havoc heading at level 50 now. What even? Level 50. He's almost an endgame character at this point. And he's only halfway through the game. Not even. Hasn't even killed Katava yet. In 10 levels, he's a level 60 character. That's basically endgame, right? He's basically retired at that point. And he's not even he's not even Act 4. Act 5 even. Yeah, he's definitely hitting XP penalty now. He's 7 levels and a half above the zone. He's definitely hitting XP. I can't remember the exact math on the XP penalty. What's that? 14% XP penalty? Something like that.
I'm going to trust your word on this.
Yeah, no, it's been years since I looked at the XP penalty. Math. Also, it's math, and it scares me.
Numbers are very frightening.
But whatever it is though, he's going for. He's not afraid. He's unafraid of the XP penalty. He attempts to pick up the Aventail unique helmet. Inventory's full. It flips. He's not worried about it. He resets the zone again. Not even taking time to vendor. He's like, my inventory's full. Don't even care. More XP. Havoc is an addict. Yeah. He's got a real problem. I'm concerned.
He's outrunning the delirium. Like the timer penalty is popping up now and again because he's too fast for the fog.
He's trying to do the deliriums for extra XP. Delirium can't keep up with him. He's XPing too hard. Look at him. He's absolutely fiending.
Mechanics can catch this man.
I think we might have to stage an intervention for Havoc right now. Havoc, mate, you've had enough. It's time to move on, buddy. Closing call has come and gone.
He just doesn't want to risk his run on the Innocence fight.
Innocence can be a little bit scary. You're not wrong. Apparently, he's still getting 97.3% XP right now, so he's just started getting XP penalty. Not enough to worry about, but that will very quickly change as he gets higher and higher level. So when he hits this level, that's going to go up a little bit. Yeah, the penalty not too bad just yet, but now would be the point where I would be like, you might consider moving on, but I don't even know anymore. Maybe not.
You should have doubted my initial guess. This was the zone I thought they would do it in, and as they arrived, I thought, no way.
He's resetting again. Like okay, I'm getting nervous. So we're getting to the 28 minutes left in the race, and I'm thinking the more resets that he does, the less time that he has to actually make progressing pay off. So Havoc might be here for the duration.
Quantric found his home. He's settled down.
We did it.
He's made himself a nice home with a zone. It's the Southern Forest.
Yeah, he's found his little rainforest retreat. He's building a little log cabin from the trees here. This is where he is having his retirement. But first he has to get the work done and build that log cabin. And by log cabin, I mean levels. And by retiring, I mean getting XP. It's all a very elaborate metaphor, okay?
Ziggy has an English major.
Sure, definitely.
in literary analogy.
So now we see Quantric finding his place. He's got 1 billion gems to level. Look at it. It'd be so satisfying if that one gem you could actually level. He's gonna do them all at once. Go on, do it. Click the buttons. Click the buttons, Quantric. Click the gem buttons. There he goes. Oh yes, so good.
Oh no!
No, he missed two. They're not gonna be happening at the same time now. He screwed it. Quantric, why you gotta do this to us, mate? Killing us. Havoc now hitting level 51.5. Still going on the XPing. I have a very concerned expression on right now. You can't see it, but I'm thinking Havoc might be here for the duration.
Only a half hour left in the race.
That is, yeah, it's starting to look like not much time to progress. So we'll see how the 100% commitment to Chamber of Innocence works out versus Quantric's progression and now starting to XP. The level gap between Quantric and Havoc isn't looking like a lot now, considering that Quantric is in a much higher level zone. He'll be able to see at the end of the race before even hitting an XP penalty, most likely. I might look at XP per hour in just a second, actually, because I'm curious. We have an XP penalty chart. Well, hold up, wait, what? I have a thing. What is this? An XP penalty chart. There you go. Here is how the XP penalty plays out for you guys who like your charts and your numbers and your math. So we can see the player level. Oh my god, it flashes if I put my mouse cursor on it. Okay, I can't show you things. You're just gonna... question mark, question mark, question mark. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It's a thing. It's a divine iron chart. Okay? Yes. Yes, okay, okay. Thank you for the XP penalty chart. Yeah, it's probably a bit easy to just use one of the calculators.
I agree with chat. It's a laser beam.
Whoa. It looks just like Divine Eye, so that should explain everything. All of your questions, chat, they should be now answered after looking at that chart. But what I am interested in seeing here is the fact that Quantric is currently, as of the last read, getting 91 million XP per hour, whereas Havoc is getting 135 million, despite him starting to running the XP penalty. However, Quantric, well, no, he's not getting any penalty for being underleveled. Maybe he just hasn't settled into his farming speed here yet. Or maybe the zone is not good enough.
Zone quality, yeah, like Southern Forest is just not thick.
Yeah, Havoc is...
It just ain't thick.
Now, Havoc's XP per hour is going to drop, right? As he gets more and more penalty. Each level, that's going to drop. That's going to drop by a few percent, right? Like, that's going to go down to 120 mil. That's going to go down to 110 mil. And Quantric's, in theory, is only going to go up as his character gets a little faster. But, and it's never going to hit any penalty in the course of this race. But is that gap going to close? I'm going to check in on the ladder again in a little bit and see whether the gap appears to be closing or not. But it's certainly looking, based on that, in favor of Havoc at the moment. But 25 minutes of XP penalty compounding? Yeah, there's no way Havoc's progressing at this point. He's all in.
Like, there's a definite possibility if he just, keeps running Innocence or Chamber of Innocence over and over, not the boss Innocence, that he can maintain this lead, even with the XP penalty that's going to creep up on him here. But if he decides to go and do a boss right now, I don't think so. Not anymore. He's committed.
It is worth mentioning that he got to Chamber of Innocence like a full couple minutes before Quantric got there and then started his progression. So Havoc was in the lead, and even if he starts hitting XP penalty, maybe that lead is enough that it's not going to matter. Like, he's like, oh, I got here first. Even if I get an XP penalty and other people progress, they're not going to have enough time to realize, like, that benefit of being in a high level zone. Because that's the thing, like, yeah, there's a benefit to being in the high level zone, but is there enough time for Quantric to realize it? Can he go fast enough? Is the zone high enough quality to compete, despite the XP penalty difference? There's a lot of questions left unanswered, but will be answered in 23 minutes when the race is finished and we find out who the winner is. That'll answer the question.
If we want a very slight differentiation, well, I say very slight, it's a moderate differentiation in strategy. We do have Pak as well, who moved on past Chamber of Innocence and is farming in, I believe, the Mudflats in X6.
Okay, interesting. We already see, I'm looking at the XP again, we already see a bit of a shake-up. Havoc, 124 million XP. I think it was 129 before, dropped a little bit. Quantric, 119. Huge increase from his 90 million he was at before. Huge increase. Starting to look like, hey, wow, 23 minutes to go? There's not much difference in the XP per hour there.
Can we see? I can't see the ladder when you pull it up. Is Pak on the ladder as well? I'd be very curious as to his XP per hour.
62 mil as of the last read, so I don't know if it hasn't caught up yet, but certainly not looking too impressive right now. The big surprise, though, is Chip Idiot, who is currently pulling 136 million XP per hour. However, I would like to point out that he's lower level than Havoc and is seeing less XP penalties. So Havoc was probably pulling 136 before. But maybe Chip is just farming a little more efficiently. It's possible. He doesn't seem to be... Did he do his delirium? Yeah, I think he did.
He's also running Herald of Ice, that it doesn't look like Havoc is, so his clears might be a little cleaner as a result of that.
Yeah, it's possible Chip Idiot's clear is a little nicer. Yeah, look at that Herald of Ice looking nice.
He was actually saved by his cold damage earlier on when he was assaulted by a couple blue packs next to an Undying rare and was able to just LA Prolif freeze all of them and keep them locked down before so he could kill them.
It's certainly nice to have that freeze for an extra layer of safety. But yeah, Chip Idiot's clear looks so good. It's hard to tell if it's just the visual of the Herald of Ice that makes everything look so much more impactful, because those sorts of things definitely like trick our minds a bit. But it certainly looks a lot stronger. But I'm actually gonna be constantly pulling up this ladder because I want to see how this plays out as the ladder keeps updating. Havoc gone for another reset there. Settling down, XP trending downwards for Havoc, now down to 116 as of last read. Chip Idiot 135, pulling excellent XP. I'm Exile 122, and Quantric still sitting around that 112 mark. Probably, it's not unusual to see players float around, 10 to 20 million difference depending on how good the zone was or just when the tracker reads it. It's certainly not a perfect science, but we can get a bit of an idea of a trend. The short of it seems to be Quantric XP trending upwards, Havoc XP trending downwards. Where will they meet? Will they intersect before the end of the race? Will Havoc start to fall behind? Will Quantric catch up?
I think Havoc is maybe in trouble if his XP per hour dips below, like, say, 90 million or something like that. He still seems to be in a fairly safe area, though.
He's got enough of a lead that he could be earning less XP than Quantric for a decent while, though. That's like his saving grace. Like, yeah, it's a sure thing very soon he's gonna start getting less XP than Quantric. But how long can he hold that for? If he just keeps getting a little bit more, gets another level here or there, then it might be enough.
Another thing worth mentioning is that progressing onto a further zone does put you at higher risk, as these later zones in the story are obviously going to be a bit more dangerous and might make it more difficult even to do the deliriums. As off-screen, Pak has not been doing all of his deliriums, and I think partially because his zone layout makes it a little harder to type them, but partially potentially because it's just scarier doing them in these higher level zones.
If
you're doing something like Havoc or Chip Strat, you're going to out-level and overpower the monsters in this zone extremely quickly.
Yeah, the monkeys and the zombies and crabs and stuff in Quantric Zone are easy peasy, but everyone's got the delirium mobs and they're scary, especially at a higher level. So that's true. It does present a little bit of extra risk, and Quantric indeed going down to about half health there around a shrine.
Like, I haven't seen Havoc's health move in, I don't know, the last 30 minutes, but Quantric has been chunked every once in a while running one of these zones.
He's killing too fast, and his 150 energy shield seems to be enough to take the brunt of the damage that does come through. Yeah, chat's pointing out that chat's starting to cheer for Chip, which is a valid thing for sure, because Chip is actually gaining on Havoc at a ridiculous pace. If you think back 10 minutes, right? Havoc had an insurmountable seeming lead over Chip. But now Chip is level 52. Havoc's level 53. There's about 1 level difference between them here, if my math is correct.
Nice. There's more to it than that, but it's the most visible part of it.
Havoc is pulling 103 million XP. Chip 126 at the moment. So maybe Havoc's strategy works out over Quantric, but does Chip do the same strategy as Havoc and then do it better? Does he do it faster? Maybe. Maybe the Herald of Ice. Maybe his clear speed. Maybe a little bit of nuance to his pack clearing. I'm trying to see. They're both moving very fast. Havoc looks like he's clearing his zones very efficiently. Maybe it's just Chip's...
Did Chip get an adrenaline flash?
Strat.
Let me see.
I'm trying to see if he's got the 2 movement little icons.
Chip has an adrenaline. Oh, but so does Havoc. They actually both have adrenalines.
Yeah, so matched on the movement speed. Yeah, I think their movement speed is basically the same. There's like very little difference there. So it comes down to pretty much like how they're actually approaching killing each pack. And maybe that Herald of Ice is actually making a difference. So as for the XP penalties, wait, is this for real? Is that the XP penalty? At 53, Havoc is currently getting 51.7% XP. And at 54, it'll drop down to 36. At 55, it'll start crawling at 25%. Is that for real? That's huge. XP penalty is going to get insane very soon.
There's only 17 minutes left in the race.
Yeah, is that enough time for like that XP penalty to kick in? I mean, that's enough time. 3 levels for Havoc over Quantric at the moment, roughly. Is that... I mean, they're going to get 2 levels in the next 16 minutes of the race. They're going to hit that XP penalty, but they're only going to be there maybe for 5 minutes. Is that 5 minutes enough time for Quantric to just be like 100% XP all the way to victory? To catch up a few levels.
I want a Templar to win. Don't get me wrong. I really do. But no. Like...
This could be closer than we... Like, considering completely different strategies, this could be way closer than I anticipated.
Like, considering Quantric's clear doesn't look nearly as clean as Chip or Havoc's either. And I'm not trying to say that to slam against the guy. Like, he's in a zone that's a good number of levels higher. He doesn't... He isn't as OP against the content that he's fighting as Havoc and Chip are.
His XP bar is just flying up, though. Oh, it's crazy.
I hope I'm wrong.
We have an incredibly close race between Havoc and Chip here, with Chip now only being about 70% of the of a level behind Havoc, so he's actually gaining on Havoc at a very rapid pace. So he might be able to just catch up and overtake Havoc and get a slight win that way. But the big question mark, the big wild card, is Quantric up in the top right with the completely different strategy. Is there going to be enough time for the XP penalty path? Like, we might see a situation where if the race was 5 minutes longer, Quantric would have won. Or maybe he does. Maybe it is enough time.
We need to get a clip of it at some point. I'm sure the support staff will have that. They probably saw it before I even did. But Pock did die off screen.
Oh no! Oh no!
We have a clip incoming.
Okay, we got a clip incoming. We actually have a quite a few. The race has been too intense. I haven't brought up very many rip clips at all. We actually have quite a few in the background that we can check out. Maybe at the end we can catch up on some of those. But for now, my eyes are glued in 3 different directions between Quantric, Chip, Havoc. We'll say 4 because also checking ladders. We got, I'm checking on this XP ladder again. I need to see Havoc hit 54, which, as we heard a little bit ago, is starting to hit huge XP penalty. Apparently he's getting 36%.
Oh, damn. I thought that was the 50-ish percent breakpoint.
No, he's down to 36% of the XP. Absolutely brutal. Havoc's XP is, you can see it. Look how much it's dropping, right? 86 million. Almost half of what he was... a bit over half of what he was getting before. Chip Idiot down to 100 million. Quantric up to 140 million. So Quantric now getting more than Havoc was getting at his prime. Okay. So huge
we got 14 minutes left. 14 minutes left.
It might be just enough.
Somebody do the math. Somebody do the math.
I don't think
I
you can
believe
map
in you,
this. There's too
Chad.
many variables. There's too many variables. You can't map this.
Plug it into the supercomputer.
No, you just have to watch and find out, I think. We have a clip, though, which we can sneak in right now before anything, hopefully, dramatic happens in the last 10 minutes of the race here. We do have Park HC, a bit of a crowd favorite here, smashing his way through some delirium in the mud flats. So going for a bit of a different strategy, was apparently farming mud flats. Oh, the accuracy aura there, possibly haste aura, actually. Look like a haste aura.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Haste and delirium pack. Surrounds, body blocks him in. 3 of the Chunguses going with the belly tickle attacks. Oh my god.
Please.
Look at it.
A man has died, Ziggy.
He got triple
3 of the
Chungus.
Chunguses with the belly tickles. This
got-
man is dead.
He got triple Chungus today. He got triple Chungus. Absolutely brutal. Definitely
I don't want you
tragic
speaking
slip
of my
and fall.
funeral.
I know. Belly tickled to death. Can't believe it. Triple Chungus belly tickled. It is a nasty combination.
Rip the cremation king.
Yeah, I know. Well, our one cremator ever in the history of today's Path of Exile Racing. Exile's doing pretty nicely on his XP gains, but it's seeming like it's not going to be quite enough, right? Chip kind of came out of nowhere with huge gaining on Havoc. What was before about a 70% difference now appears to be about a 60% difference, so he's gaining on him. It's a slow gain, but he's definitely gaining steadily on Havoc. In possibly 11 minutes, it might be enough for him to just get about the exact same as Havoc. Based on what we've seen in the last 5 minutes, we've seen him gain 10% of a level, so it might be enough. But maybe not. We'll see. Havoc is going to hit the XP penalty a little bit before, and then that'll equalize out a little bit. But then Chip's going to get it as well. Still, the big question remains: does Quantric win it? We're starting to see a change in chat's opinions. They're saying, "Oh, there's no way Quantric doesn't win this. Look at his XP; he's flying. The guy is going absolutely nuts. He's popping off right now." The big strategy of the big progression. The less safe approach. Possibly winning out here. Yo, I'm checking this ladder again. Exclamation mark ladder. Oh, I'm doing it. We are seeing Havoc with 75 million, a measly 75 million. Chip with 91, so still gaining on Havoc at a reasonable pace, but the XP penalty is starting to get more and more brutal. Quantric, in the meantime, going up further, even higher now at 149 million XP per hour. Might even cross that 150 million. His XP is only going up while the others is going down. Soon they'll be getting nothing. Soon that XP will be 0.
He's got 10 minutes of feasting on this 150 million XP per hour banquet that he has for himself.
Yeah, it is. And
my faith is still not there, though.
Yeah, no, you don't think it's enough time? Oh, that would be.
We're 10 minutes to the finish line. We're gonna make calls. Who do you think gets it, Ziggy?
I'm thinking
Chip. Actually,
you're right. Yeah. Okay. All right. So I think that if the race was a 2 hours and 1 minute race, Quantric would win. But with the 2 hour race, Chip's gonna win by 3% XP over Havoc. That's my call.
Wow, you don't think Havoc either? Okay.
No, I think Chip's gonna catch Havoc right at the end and get like 1 pack extra worth of XP here. I hate to say it. I love Havoc. He is my greatest bang, but I think Chip's gonna catch him and win by about 3% XP.
He's about to take over to, well, I say about to. He's actually not gonna get to that next level all that quickly with his 36% XP, but he's, probably gonna gain 1 more in this time that we've got, so he's gonna have an even heavier XP penalty.
Chat's rioting at our predictions. They're like, no way, Havoc's gonna win, and then other people in chat are like, no way, Quantric is easily winning this.
I may have been aware that might happen.
You guys are blowing up at these predictions. Hold on, let's check the ladder. Maybe I'll change my opinions. Maybe chat, you can convince me. Tell me who it is that you think is going to win this race. Who is going to win this race? No way could it be X person. It's definitely going to be Y person. Look at chat just blowing up. They're seeing a lot of votes for Quantric now, and I'm seeing that 147 million, and I'm thinking, oh, chat, you're making me nervous. Maybe you guys are right. Maybe my prediction was way off. On the other hand, though, Chip Idiot slowly gaining on Havoc. You know, you might be right. It might be just not enough time for Chip to catch him. Maybe I was the wrong way around. Maybe Chip will be 3% XP under Havoc.
I guess Chip. I just, I was thinking maybe we'd spice it up a little bit, have different guesses, so there's a sense of, competition between us here on the caster desk. Put on a good show.
But I was on board.
Did jump up to third from fourth, though, has overtaken Exile.
I'm stuck on this idea. Oh, wow, yeah, now he's doing it. Quantric is starting to seem very close. I'm watching their XP bars, and he's killing packs, and you can see the XP bar move. You watch Havoc kill packs, you can barely see the XP bar move. It's making me nervous. You might be right, chat. You might be right. Maybe 2 hours will be just enough time. I was really hot on this idea of the race being 1 minute too short for Quantric's idea to play out, but I don't know. Maybe you're starting to convince me, chat. Quantric might win. Quantric might got this. He might got this.
I do feel like Southern Forest may not have been the pick, though. I despite Hawk's rip, I actually really was much more impressed watching the density in Mudflats than I am Southern Forest. Though, to be fair, it's a slightly lower level zone, so maybe
that's
it offsets
true. It would have been interesting to see how that would have played out. Like, I think it's a high enough level zone still that the XP penalty probably would have been worth it. Because, yeah, the Southern Forest doesn't seem like the greatest zone, right? It's got not the greatest layout. I mean, Quantric seems to be reading it fine and not wasting any time. It is actually easy to get lost here. But, I don't know, maybe you're right. Maybe the Mudflats might have been a little bit better. We will never know, though. But nonetheless, I would like to point out that Quantric and Havoc are indeed, well, not the same level, because Havoc just hit level 55. Quantric, however, only has about 55% XP to catch up until he is caught up with Havoc. And, ooh, no, chat, I think you might be right. There's only 5.5 minutes left. I thought it would take a little bit longer for Quantric to gain on Havoc, but that XP penalty has just been getting so brutal. I underestimated it. As soon as that ladder updates to say Havoc 55, I'm going to check the ladder because Havoc is now hitting only 25% of the XP. So he's only getting 25% XP now, apparently. That is
so close to overtaking Chip as well.
Wait, he is? Oh my god, you're right. Okay, my predictions have already been proven wrong, I think. Yeah, no, look at Quantric's XP just flying up over Chips. I think I underestimated that XP penalty. I mean, I saw the numbers, but seeing it now,
I'm looking at the numbers. He's
done
like a 10 million XP away or something.
Quantric has taken second place. We don't see it on the updated ladder yet, but we can see it visually on screen, right? Quantric has taken second place off Chip. That pushes the Chip theory out. Chat, you were right. I hate to say it. I really hate to say it. God, I loathe to say it. The viewers were right.
I'm glad this is on your channel. You got to deal with this.
I loathe to say it. I will not be able to sleep at night tonight thinking about the fact that I had to say that. But you're right. I think Quantric might have this. Oh, there's like 20% XP difference between Quantric and Havoc right now. Absolutely ludicrous. We do see the ladder update. I want to check the XP numbers right now. One last time before we finish. Show me the juicy numbers. I'm excited. Give me the big numbers. We see Havoc getting 58 million XP per hour. Oh my god, those are babby numbers. And then we actually see 150 million XP for Quantric. Real
triple.
Big hairy chin lad numbers right there. Huge XP. Beating out Havoc in his prime, Quantric with the mega XPs. I was a bit nervous when he first got to the zone and he was not even pulling 100 mil. But no, he's well in his prime right now. Look at this. The XP is almost even and there's still 3 minutes to go. Oh my god, Havoc has like a 5% lead right now. I bet he was hoping for a little bit more of a lead now. Havoc, I don't even know what you can do at this point to maintain the lead that is almost non-existent. Wait, is he already overtaken him? Oh, he's already overtaken him. No, he's got it.
Yeah,
Quantric
he's got it.
has overtaken
There's no
Havoc.
way. No,
What
like,
can he possibly
he'd
do?
have to die. He'd have to die now.
Quantric would have to die. You're right.
Like literally now.
Don't say it, Octavian. No.
He's at a waypoint.
Careful.
He's fine.
Be
I'm not
careful,
cursing
mate.
him. He's in a loading screen.
Oh my god, I thought the race would not be long enough. I thought it would be like 1 or 2 minutes too short, but it turns out it was just long enough for Quantric to overtake with about 2.5 minutes to spare. That is not... I cannot believe how close this has turned out, considering completely different strategies. That he like has he calculated this to know that he would just overtake him? Because the race was
give him the benefit
long
of the doubt.
enough?
Yes.
You reckon he just calculated it down to that level? He's like, yeah, if you stay here, you're going to hit 55.5. And if I stay here, I'm going to hit 55.6.
I mean, he can do another run. He's going to get more than 0.6. He's maybe going to get like close to 56. He's still getting good XP. Like the XP bar is actually moving in here.
He's not getting... I think he's getting like a slight XP penalty now, right? I think he's getting like a couple percent XP penalty. Barely anything. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's,
at worst, he's getting 97% of XP or something.
Yeah, that's like nothing compared to Havoc's mega massive penalty. He's getting like 75% penalty on Havoc now. Absolutely brutal.
The game doesn't really want you to be level 55 before you've killed innocents.
No.
You're not supposed to do that.
It actively tries to prevent you from doing that, and yet here Havoc is, flying in the face of what the game says to do, and getting punished for it, as Quantric just secures more and more of a lead. Every pack that he kills, shooting his XP bar up. You can barely see Havoc's moving. It looks like a level 95 player right now, killing the highest level content in the game, right? He was like, you can barely see the XP bar moving. He's like, yep, 10 hours and I'll get a level. That's about where Havoc's at right now. Quantric, however, with the big brain plays, knowing exactly where he needed to be to secure this race, unless he dies in the next 40 seconds. Even if he dies in the next 40 seconds.
Even if, yeah.
No, you're right. I don't think there's enough time for Havoc to catch up, even if he dies. Yeah. I think you're right. I think if he dies, he just gets kept at that XP. You might be right about that for the XP race. Oh my god. Quantric is going to hit 56 right before the end.
Come on. 20 seconds.
I'm zooming in for the end, for the big finale.
There is the rare mob.
There it is. The big XP, 15 seconds to go, and he hits level 56. Calculated this down so that he knew that he had about 2 minutes to spare for his XP strat. He logs out and he's like, I'm done. He's not even bothering
you don't need that last
to do the last 2 seconds of the race. Mega congrats to an epic win from Quantric. Absolutely huge to see such a diverse range of strategies in an XP race. Normally you see everyone do the exact same thing and then it come down to that. But in this place, Quantric knew exactly where he needed to be. I was very skeptical for a long time. I apologize. Quantric, as it turns out, you knew exactly what you were doing. And manages to secure that victory. I think we do see Havoc in second and Chip Idiot in third, with I'm Exile just a little bit behind in fourth. Overall, a very close run. Fantastic efforts from all of our races today. Definitely worthy of some clappers. What a race. What a race. Crazy. I did not expect that level of excitement from a 2-hour XP race. That was super cool.
We should keep doing XP races and just like nudge the hour finish line mark a little bit each time to keep people on their toes.
Yeah,
you know? like 1.5 hours, 2 hours.
If it had been 1 hour 55, Havoc might have won.
Actually, yes. You are, I think like 1 hour, maybe 52, something like that. Somewhere around that.
A few minutes would have changed how the strategies played out. Crazy. Let us watch a couple of rip clips before we go on break and await the next race. The next race will indeed be a Piety Rush. So we're seeing another boss kill race, a very fast, furious boss kill race. But first, we have death. Death, glorious death for all of you. First, we have Keldorn deciding to tangle with some Rolly boys. And, well, we know how that goes. Oh no, that aura pack of Rolly boys. You want to see some death, chat? I got some death for you. I got rapid replay death for you again and again. Watching Keldorn get Rolly boy down. Absolutely brutal. Next up, we have even more death. Even more death. Who is next on the chopping block?
Oh, I imagine it's going to be some of the Chaos Bomb. Oh, no, it's not. It's just... He just overhand slaps him.
No, it
comes
was...
in with the dunk.
Wait. No. I got to slow motion this, because it's actually both. It's actually both. He gets slapped.
Is he shotgunned or something?
He gets slapped and then hit by 3 explosions.
Oh, Jesus.
Wait, is the slap enough? Oh, wait, no, the explosions were just fireworks. I don't even think the explosions killed him. I think there was an earlier explosion and then the slap. There's definitely 2 hits that kill him, but oh my god. The three explosions were just fireworks for the death for Pete. Lol. Peter lol. Getting slapped down by Malagaro there. This is not all. We have more deaths. You want more deaths, chat? We got more deaths. How can he slap? Just like that, apparently. We have Lunaris Piety. A little bit blurry, but this is Zugmax getting zapped. Oh, the teleport into the ice phase. An absolute classic. Try to run behind the pillar. The ice shot shotguns. The AoE on the ice shot, finishing them off. Absolutely brutal. Even more death? Hey, this is a death that we saw on screen, but maybe some of you blinked and missed it. It is none other than the Dead and Doom in the belly of the beast. We saw it happen on stream. He rushed into the pack of those gut punching, whatever they're called.
Gut rippers.
Gut rippers, that's the one. And gets just slapped down. Looks like Stygian Revenant having a little bit of a projectile throw in there as well, but yeah, just surrounded by a pack. Like I said, even the best racers just find themselves out of position sometimes and surrounded by a pack. Absolutely brutal. We have a couple more deaths for you, chat. A little bit more death. Let's check out some more death, perhaps. We have Gertington on the Weaver. Speed things back up a little bit.
Not respecting the EK. And that
all right. Ooh, yeah. No, just
don't really have Bismuth.
Just gets brapped by Weaver 3 times in a row. He's like, yeah, first 2 hits, fine. It's all right, I'm flasking. But the medium life flask, not enough to flask up to full from that. Definitely not. Big spooted death coming your way. We got any more? We got any more? I don't think we have any more. I think that's all the death, by the way. No more death.
We're all out.
That's all the death.
Visit your local mortuary.
Alrighty, folks. Coming up, thank you very much for watching the 2-hour XP race. What an exciting one that was. Very close finish in the end, and congratulations once again to Quantric. Next up, we'll be having the Piety Boss Kill Rush race. I'm Exile's already practicing for it, so we'll be seeing you guys in just a few minutes for that, and we'll be taking a short break in the meantime. So you guys chillax, and we'll see you guys soon.